My friend and badass world building mastermind member, Jeff Dean, was on the proverbial hot seat, the 45-minute mastermind hot seat earlier this week. Jeff did an outstanding job. He's a very generous, driven, and determined entrepreneur and business owner. He's a very dedicated husband and father to two teenage girls. He is a dedicated and committed volunteer firefighter in our community back home. He's just a guy who, when you rate your contribution in servicing others, an area that a lot of businessmen and entrepreneurs struggle in, I always get the guys to grade the areas of their life. Grade your marriage from 0 to 10, 10 being outstanding, 0 being dismal. Physical health grade, mental health grade, relationship with your children grade, marketing grade, employees grade, all the way through the different areas of their lives. And Jeff's one of those rare birds who gets a 9.5 out of 10 when it comes to community service, giving back, and serving those he's been called to serve. Even a lot more than just fighting fires, but all the programs that the firefighters support in our community, a lot of it based with helping young children in the area we live in, whether it's a lot of it's sports programs, getting kids, off screens and off the couch and coming to the arena or the pool or the ballpark and getting kids active. So my tip of the hat to Jeff Dean for his presentation on Wednesday. But I wanted to share with you the one thing out of that hot seat that really resonated with me, and it was a writer down. It's now on one of those white index recipe cards that I keep with all my ideas, my quotes, my mind vitamins. Jeff had a quote in there in one of his slides, and it said, "Everything we do in private, everything we eat, everything we drink, we wear in public." I'm going to say that again. Everything we do in private, everything we eat, everything we drink, we wear in public. Now, Jeff is a person who has, in the last 2 years, went from being physically unfit to in the best shape of his life in his 40s. In his late 40s, he is in the best physical and mental shape of his life. You get in the best physical shape of your life, the mental always follows. It's not the other way around. You can read all you want, you can meditate all you want, you can journal all you want, you can visualize all you want. But if you're not physically fit, if you're not getting in your steps, if you're not doing your road work, if you're not stretching, if you're not doing your body weight exercises, if you're not lifting, if you're not eating the right foods, if you're not drinking a gallon of water a day, then you're going to have challenges mentally. The physical leads to the mental. Mental good health starts with physical fitness. Get in the best physical shape of your life. Like Jeff, it was a 2-year journey. He's never looked back. And the mental automatically follows. Then the reading takes it to the next level. Then the journaling, the meditation, all that other stuff. But it all starts with getting in the best physical shape of your life. Like the great Vince Lombardi said, fatigue makes cowards of us all. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. If you're in great condition and you can run like a deer, you're going to love everything you're doing. You're going to love business. You're going to love playing with your children. You're going to love being active with your teenagers, your adult children. You're going to love and you're going to enjoy playing with your grandkids. You're going to enjoy being active with your best friend, Queen. You're going to sleep better. You're going to feel better. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. When you're tired and you're sucking wind, nothing's fun. I've seen that so many times in sport, and I've taught this for decades. You need to be in great condition to enjoy anything, whether it's business, whether it's football, whether it's golf, whether it's tennis. You need to be in great physical condition. If you can run like a deer at the end of the game, like the great Jimmy Johnson, former two-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys coach, said, you're going to have a big smile on your face at the end of the game, because that other team, that other player that you defeated is going to be hanging down, and he's tired and he's defeated, and he's a coward because he's tired. Don't be tired. Don't be tired. That's one of the badass world building rules. Don't be tired. If you're tired mentally and physically, get in better shape. That's why I'm out here in the darkness putting in 15,000 steps. It's going to take me 72 minutes. And then I'm going to drink a gallon of water. And then I'm going to go up to the gym here. And I'm going to lift for about 25 to 30 minutes. Hardly any time at all. And just working towards getting an even better physical and mental condition. One of the motivators that Jeff shared with us on his hot seat, which shows you the power of, I guess the best word would be shame or embarrassment. I've always known, I've coached hockey, pro and amateur hockey, for 22 years. And I've been an entrepreneur in the trenches for 31 going on 32. And it's been my experience dealing with elite athletes, elite salespeople, any elite high performers, that the bottom line is people are prideful. I've never met a man or a woman that I've worked with that ever wanted to lose or finish last. And I've talked in the past about how I made all my sales results, even for my service team, my receptionists, my sales guys. I always made my sales public. I always had the big white dry erase boards, and I had them ranked, from first to last. And I would send the email around every week, so everybody knew. You knew if you were third place, you knew if you were 11th place, you knew if you were in first place. And when I started making results public, our business transformed. Now, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. I mean, most people would find this to be a very unpopular idea. A lot of people would like to hide, right? They don't want results to be public. That's why now we give 8 crippling 8th place trophies out to our children. We don't test our school children. We don't want to have any negative results. We'd rather bury our heads in the sand and think that our kids can read, and assume that our kids can add and subtract, and assume that our kids know the capital cities of the states and provinces. And of course, the result is the large majority don't. What's measured gets done. What you measure improves performance. So I've always made results public with my sales teams, my receptionist. I wanted my 3 receptionists to know who was first, second, and third. I didn't give a shit about their feelings. I wanted production. And it's interesting because with 3 receptionists answering 340 calls on a good day, it was amazing. On one day, Ann would be number 1. The next day, Tracy would be number 1. And then the next day, Linda would be number 1. It's just nobody wants to finish last. And in the 11 years in the insurance business where I made sales results public, I put them up on the whiteboard in every office. Every day, everybody knew where they stood. Not once in 11 years, and we did this monthly, so 11 years times 12 months of putting up results publicly, did I ever have one of my 23 employees finish dead last twice. Ever in a row. So if somebody finished last in January, I never in 11 years had that person ever finish last the next month. So public recognition and public shaming, if you want to call it that, very effective motivators. One of the things that Jeff shared that was really powerful, and I'm not sure if everybody caught on to it, so I made sure that I talked about it. But 2 years ago, like, he had tried to get in the best physical shape of his life. He had tried for a number of years to, he would start and then he would stop, he would start and then he would stop, and he couldn't make it happen consistently. So he told the story at the fire hall 2 years ago. The fire chief was passing out t-shirts to all the firefighters. So he was just handing out the t-shirts and asking what size each firefighter was. And when he came to Jeff, he looked at Jeff and he said, "What size?" And he said, I need a medium. I need a medium t-shirt. And the fire chief, not meaning anything by it, said, "You're not a fucking medium." And that comment, that wake-up call, that, I don't know, you want to call it calling out, that personal embarrassment, that public shaming in a small degree. I mean, this is not politically correct, but it's exactly what it is. It's the same as a sales board. It's, what we wear, what we do privately, we wear publicly. Changed Jeff's entire life in terms of physical fitness and mental fitness. I mean, he was embarrassed that he had put on weight. He talked about, his body wasn't what he wanted it to be. His arms weren't as big and powerful, his shoulders, his chest. He had put on dangerous weight around his midsection. But you know what? All the inspiration in the world doesn't make that happen. What made this happen for Jeff Dean was the fact that in that situation in front of his other firefighting brothers, a comment was made about, "You're not a medium." And he took that as, and a lot of guys would take that as an insult, and they would bitch and whine and complain and feel sorry for themselves. That's how the ordinary, the average, and the mediocre live their lives. Everything is a slight, everything's an excuse. My parents were tough on me. I came from a broken home. My dad was an alcoholic. I went to the wrong school. It's called burying yourself in bullshit. And even though we can't choose our parents or our childhood, you can decide whether to use your trauma, your frustrations, let's just say your unluckiness as a child. You can use it either as an excuse to destroy the rest of your life. Well, I've never had a break and all this other BS. Or you can do what Jeff did in his situation, where he used it as fuel and gasoline. He used that comment as fuel and gasoline. You're not a medium. Fuel and gasoline. And for 2 years, he's used that clear as kind comment. Like that was pure honesty from the fire chief. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be harsh, or he wasn't meant to, to hurt anyone's feelings. But boy, oh boy, when you think about it, it sure got the job done. And great warriors, winners like Jeff, use that as fuel. Use that as fuel. I have used a perennial chip on my shoulder for 50 years. I have been told that I cannot do this. I'll never do this. I'll never coach pro hockey. I'll never coach amateur hockey. I was told that I could never, ever own my own community hockey team. I was told by people close to me that I would destroy my father's insurance agency, that I would embarrass the family, that I would bankrupt the business. I was told that a barber shop would never work. I didn't know anything about the barbering industry. I was laughed out of the room when I said I was going to write a book and be a public speaker and help elite men build their worlds. It was, I mean, I've used every single non-believer, every single slight, every single bit of shame that's come my way. Just like Jeff, I've used it as rocket fuel. I have used it as gasoline. The great Tim Grover, the author of Relentless and Winning, says that's embracing your dark side. We all have a dark side. If you don't believe it, you're just lying to yourself. Every man has a dark side, and it can be a very bad thing. It can be your demons haunt you and own you. You take those frustrations and that trauma from your life and you use it as an excuse to not show up as a man. You use it as an excuse to not show up as a husband, a father, an entrepreneur. You use it as an excuse to not show up. You behave like a scared little boy. And our world is full of those types of men. But the champions, the badass kings, they use any of these frustrations or traumas or situations that were not perfect in their earlier years. And good morning. And they use that in situations where they maybe lack inspiration or motivation, and they use their dark side as fuel. We all have a dark side, and Jeff used that one little piece there, that one little slight, you're not a medium, to change his entire world. And yes, getting in the best physical shape of his life has changed his world. It's changed his queen's world. It's changed his two daughters' worlds. It's changed everything about him for the better. That one little slight that he said, you know what? Mentally, he said, we'll see about that. The greatest part of that story is when Jeff said at the end, a year or 2 years later, probably 12 months later, guy is very dedicated. 9 workouts, 9 short workouts a week. He goes 9-0, 9-0, 9-0, 9-0. He has a system that works with his job, seamless living. And he said the best part of that was a year later, the chief was handing out t-shirts. And I mean, the fire chief is a champion. I know him well. He's a winner. He's always been a winner. He's an elite athlete. He's a leader of men and women. And he's handing out the t-shirts 12 months later, and he tosses a medium t-shirt to Jeff. And he winks at him and he says, there's your medium. He now fit the shirt. The strong chest, the mighty arms, the trimmed down midsection, a wink, and there's your medium. Man, oh man, that is coaching. That is leadership. That is the good stuff. So, are you in the best physical shape of your life? If you're 50, you're 55, you're 65, you're 70 years old. My dad got in the best physical shape of his life when he was 74. My dad was diagnosed with diabetes at age 74, and they said, Frank, if you don't get your act together in terms of diet and some movement, you're going to have to take injections, insulin injections. My dad, being the badass king that he is, it was the same as a medium t-shirt. He said, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. And he started walking that day every morning and every night. And he continues at age 89 to walk almost every day. He does mornings now, not evenings. And he's never, ever, ever, ever taken a needle of insulin. He's controlled it through a conservative diet, lots of water, doesn't drink, and he's 89 years old, and he walks every single day. He does his road work every day, and he has for, 25 straight years? 25 straight years. He used it as fuel. He used it as fuel. He was scared, and instead of feeling sorry for himself and accepting, all that stuff. Good morning. Accepting, I'll take the drugs or I'll take the insulin. He was like, no way, I'm gonna handle this myself in-house, and he did. So I just wanted to tell you those couple of stories, what we do, what everything you do in private, everything you eat, everything you drink, everything you read, everything you consume, everything you watch on your phone, everything, all of your inputs in private, you'll wear in public. You'll wear in public. You'll wear in public. Like the late, great Stephen Covey said, private victories precede public victories. Private victories precede public victories. I'm out here in the darkness 7 days a week. Nobody knows. Nobody's patting me on the back. Nobody's cheering me on. Nobody's kicking my ass. I'm doing it because I realize that what I do privately in the darkness is what you'll see publicly. If I don't show up like an elite husband, coach, father, leader, you know what? If I don't show up in the darkness, if I don't show up, then I'll wear that publicly. So it's amazing. We are who we are when nobody's watching. If you want help with any of the stuff I talk about here every day, building your own world, moving your life from success to significance. Success is common. Significance is rare. Building your legacy. What's your legacy going to be? What are your great-great-grandchildren going to say about you? What are the people going to say at your funeral? What are you going to be remembered for? Is your life forgettable? Is your life forgettable, or are you going to build a legacy? Are you going to live a life of significance and serve other people? What will your great-great-grandchildren say about you, or will they not even know your name? Most great-great-grandchildren don't know their great-grandfather's name because he didn't live a life of legacy and significance, and it's never too late to start. If you need help building your badass world this year, first of all, buy my book at nobullbook.com, nobullbook.com. If you want more help than that, join my mastermind. You can join at any time. Badassworldbuilders.com. Badassworldbuilders.com. That's a 12-month online mastermind. No travel, none of that stuff. And then finally, something that's an absolute must is you must subscribe to my Paper and Ink World Building newsletter. Every month I ship a Paper and Ink newsletter. It's all about my month of world building as a husband, as a father, as a community leader, as a marketer. It'll help you make more money. It'll help you with your marketing, your sales. It'll help you become a hero in your own home. You can subscribe at badassletter.com. That's badassletter.com. And I'll send you one of these badass black t-shirts for subscribing to my monthly membership. That is it for today. Remember, what you do in private, you will wear in public. 2 words that change my life, 2 words that'll change your life. Be relentless.